You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your May Young Classic Report for Wednesday, September 26, 2018. We have finally reached the end of the first round as the final four matches of the first round took place tonight. And we're going to kick things off with the best of them all as Rachel Evers goes one-on-one with Hiroyo Matsumoto. Evers is the daughter of Paul Ellering, and since they wouldn't let her be called Ellering, she took the shoot last name of her trainer, Lance Storm. Matsumoto called herself Lady Godzilla in her pre-match promo and told Renee Young that if she could wrestle any one person in the entire world, it would be The Undertaker. Where's Teddy Long to make that match? Cassius Ohno, who was introduced as Rachel's boyfriend, was shown sitting in the front row. And early on, it was the Irresistible Force versus the Immovable Object, as neither lady would give up an inch during a collar and elbow lockup and a series of clotheslines. Michael Cole used his first of many Michael Cole-isms of the night when right after Beth was talking about how Rachel seemed to always be in between Japan tours, Michael informed us that if Rachel won tonight, people would take notice in Japan. Hiroyo hit a beautiful missile dropkick, which folded Rachel up. She placed Evers across the middle rope and ground her foot into the ribs of her foe before using the double knees for a near fall. Rachel came back and hit a short power bomb, followed by a pump kick, a diamond cutter, and a running senton bomb for a near fall. She used a rope-assisted twisting leg drop for another near fall. We saw both ladies using hard open-hand slaps before Matsumoto knocked her down with a clothesline, which was a throwback to the start of the match. Matsumoto hit a spinning elbow and a German suplex, but Rachel exploded up. Matsumoto went for a clothesline, but Rachel gave her arm a pump kick. However, she couldn't do it a second time as Hiroyo took her head off with a clothesline. And finally, Matsumoto hit a power bomb and a rock drop back suplex for the win. So easily one of the better matches of the first round, if not the best. And honestly, that match would have looked out of place, in the quarterfinals or semifinals, honestly. And speaking of future rounds, Hiroyo will now move on and face Toni Storm in the round of 16. Jessie Elvin was out next to go one-on-one with Taynara Conti. Conti, you might recall from her appearances in NXT, she's the first Brazilian woman signed to WWE. She competed in the WrestleMania, quote-unquote, first ever women's battle royal, and last year was a one-night-only member of the Undisputed Era when she was trying to stop Nikki Cross from being the number one contender back in the day when the Undisputed Era was feuding with Sanity. Dana Brooke was shown at ringside. Michael Cole was way too happy about this. Jessie, she's signed to WWE. She's former athlete, never wrestled before joining NXT. And she describes herself as a goof who falls down a lot. So, with that in mind, this match, after one of the best matches of the first round, this match was easily one of the weaker matches of the first round. Conti opened up with a hip toss, and Jessie almost landed on her head. Jessie went for a corner splash, but Conti not only moved, but took her entire body and shoved it onto the top rope. The good news for Jessie is that it's a good thing she likes to fall down, as Taynara had no problem bumping her all over the ring. Conti went for a kick to the face, but Jessie moved, and Conti hit the bottom turnbuckle, which gave Jessie her opening for a comeback. But Jessie only got in a little bit of offense, including finally hitting her flying forearm in the corner. But she got laid out with a spinning side slam. So Taynara Conti got the 3 count, picked up the win, And the biggest positive of this match was that it was now over. And Conti will now face Lacey Lane in the round of 16. Nicole Matthews versus Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn is a former actress, has wrestled in Progress, and is signed to the NXT UK brand, while Nicole is a 12-year veteran who has wrestled primarily in ECCW and Shimmer. Also, once upon a time, she lost to Asuka on NXT. Isla is apparently a follower of witchcraft, and this was pointed out a number of times in commentary, as Renee was hoping Isla broke out witchcraft in this match. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. Although that would have taken this tournament in a direction most people would not expect. Nicole used a draping neck breaker from the middle rope and lit Isla up with a series of kicks to the back. Isla used a rolling uppercut, but when she went for it a second time, Nicole dropped her. Matthew's strategy appeared to be to kick every possible inch of Isla's body as she turned to her stomach and chest, turning them both a shade of red. Isla came back and decided what's good for the goose is good for the gander as she kicked Nicole up and down her body and used a running knee and a fisherman suplex for a 2 count. Isla used an Olympic slam for another near fall, but Nicole came back with a knee strike and locked on the Lion Tamer for the submission win. Nicole will now go one-on-one with Tegan Knox, which Renee Young referred to as a quote-unquote pound-for-pound hard-way matchup, whatever the hell that is. And finally, it is the final first-round match, as Xia Brookside, the daughter of Robbie Brookside, goes one-on-one with Shirai. Xia is 19, almost 20. I don't want to put her down, but she had a slightly less than 0% chance of winning this match. Robbie was at ringside, and this was, they said, the first time he'd ever seen his daughter wrestle. Shirai is 28 years old, but is a legend already, and I'd be sitting here until tomorrow, and this audio update would be 7 hours long if I took the time to sit here and list all of her accomplishments, all of her awards. She's just an amazing, amazing wrestler, and it showed here as she blitzed Xia Brookside in this match. Xia got in very little offense here. She tried breaking out a flying head scissors at the bell, but it did not work out well for her. Io used a twisting crossface that she slapped on with such an incredible speed, you almost had to rewind to make sure you saw that correctly. Cole noted that Io Shirai's 2 dream matches were against Charlotte and Asuka, and he, of course, never mentioned Io's history with Asuka. It's possible he had no idea those two even knew each other. Io used a springboard moonsault finally to win what was pretty much an extended squash match. Xia did her best, but was outclassed in this match. And now, Xexis, watch out, honey, because you're next. And that's Io's next victim in the second round. So that only does it for this week. That does it for the entire first round. Thank you all for listening. The second round begins next week. And until then, thank you all for listening. And I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.